Hello everyone, this is Chunky Raccoon, and today I have a special video for you. The most popular lolcow on the internet. Those of you that don't know, Chris Chan is a very strange individual who through a lot of different means became worse mentally because of the trolls harassing him, which is entirely his own fault for revealing his address on the internet in a scheme to prove the trolls that they were wrong. This backfired and only made him more of a target. Today I would like to discuss a little bit about Chris's history, and it all begins with his mother, Barb, and his father, Bob. Chris's father, Bob, was an engineer and had several patents. This allowed them to be very well off in Chris's early life. Barbara was, however, to be quite simple, an absolute lunatic. Some of Barbara's behavior can be included but not limited to hoarding, laziness, threatening suicide, guilt-tripping, shaming, controlling and manipulating, as well as defending Chris's horrible actions.
The pain!
In Chris's early life, he experienced a traumatic event involving a babysitter that locked him in a closet with a bunch of toys and his comic books. Chris stated this was when he met his first imaginary friend, Magic.
Okay, that hurts
Chris
so
also
much.
explained that this is what triggered his autism, completely forgetting that autism is a hereditary disorder, most likely caused by his fossilized parents deciding to have a kid way past the normal age of childbirth. Due to Chris's upbringing, and of Barb and Bob supporting his bizarre behavior like talking to imaginary friends and playing with toys well past the age of 20, Chris never learned to act like a normal adult. He began attending a public gaming establishment ran by a man named Michael Snyder. Chris would play card games like Pokemon and often would lose to children and would get angry. Snyder gave Chris verbal warnings, but this did not stop him. Chris met a girl by the name of Megan at the game place, and this became Chris's first love, but she did not feel the same way toward him. And in one email she even wrote, "Please stop touching me. I don't know why I have to keep telling you to stop touching me. It makes me uncomfortable when you put your arm around me like that or hug me. I told you I didn't want a relationship with a guy, and I'm not into dating at this point in my life." Chris didn't get the hint, and he would continue his advances against Megan. This relationship ended after Chris drew a pornographic image of Megan. Chris believes that fictional characters are real and exist in our reality, and he thinks he can communicate with them. He has been seen kissing and dancing with his imaginary friends. Chris made a comic that he wrote for nearly 20 issues each about being 100 pages long. Chris has absolutely no grasp of copyright, so he made the character Sonichu, which is half Pikachu and half Sonic. Usually in the comic book, Sonic will be fighting other characters from other parts of fiction, making the copyright nightmare that is Sonichu even worse. The hypocrisy of his comic doesn't end there, also including real-life people as villains. This leads us into the Mary Lee Walsh, and Chris is banned from the Gameplace. During the Gameplace saga, Chris Chan received many warnings from owner Michael Snyder, but that did not do anything. He ended up having to ban him. He was banned in 2009 after he began screaming racial slurs at the local African-American children and thinking they wanted to steal his cards. This was most likely influenced by Family Guy and stereotypes. He was also banned from his college by Mary Lee Walsh. His banning was a result of the love quest. Chris Chan needed what he called a boyfriend-free girl to make into his sweetheart. Instead of talking to women, Chris sat somewhere in campus and held up a sign that was labeled, "I am a 24-year-old man looking for an 18 to 24-year-old girl, alcohol-free, smoke-free, must be a white girl." And he specified that he did not want any quote-unquote darkies. Eventually, Mary Lee Walsh had enough with Chris's antics and banned his ass, and asked him to seek therapy for over a year. This came to great distress to Chris Chan. Despite being completely insane, he simply does not want to seek help and has a hostile relationship with psychotherapy. He continues to become more and more delusional and revolves around his fictional world of Quickville and his original characters instead of actually doing things in real life. Quickville is a power of fantasy as well as Chris's characters because Chris himself is such a loser in real life and can't do anything right. Chris, however, did end the love quest by marrying his fictional character, Magic-chan, but has never had any interactions with any women except one he paid to have with them, which I'm pretty sure is just an elaborate lie that Chris made up. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have the street smarts to go into the bad part of town and find some homeless crack addict to give him her china. Because, of course, Chris has absolutely no understanding of how to act in public or how normal people act due to his dementia-ridden crazy-ass parents. In the year 2019, Chris met a woman named Isabella Jank, who supposedly has a dad that is a Navy SEAL. This is an obvious lie just made up by trolls that surround her. Isabella's goal was to get Chris to Pearl Harbor himself, so to speak, by leaking a video of where Chris confessed to molesting his dementia-ridden and equally deranged mother. Anyway, that concludes this portion of the video. I do not have much time left, so in conclusion, what do I think of Chris Chan? I believe he's definitely a little bit, like, out there, but I don't really think he's deserving to be messed with. I don't think people should mess with him and troll him anymore. I mean, after all, he's kind of ruined his own life. He's gotten out of jail now, and he's just stuck in a group home. People are trying to get pictures of him and things like that, which you should never do. Chris Chan's an asshole for what he did, and you're a bigger asshole if you start taking pictures of him and trying to post them online. But anyway, that's all I have to say about the situation. See ya.